Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey. We're plunging into a world where laws are as bizarre as they are, well, real. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack some of the most outdated and truly weird laws that are still technically on the books. We want to understand their surprising origins and maybe discover what these peculiar legal artifacts tell us about society back then versus, now. We've pulled our sources for this from outdated and weird laws you can still be charged with from the Law Dictionary, and also top craziest laws still on the books from LegalZoom.
Yeah, and what's truly captivating about these, let's call them forgotten laws, is that each one really acts like a legislative time capsule. They're often a direct snapshot of a very particular moment in history.
Mm.
They reflect public standards, maybe unique local issues, or even sometimes, a lawmaker's attempt at humor, or maybe just an overreaction to one single incident. And a lot of them just remain codified, even if they're rarely, if ever, enforced today. They offer us this amazing glimpse into past concerns.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our first category of these bizarre laws takes us right into the world of animal antics. And this really reveals just how far lawmakers went to control everything from pets to livestock, often in ways that seem, well, utterly bewildering today. Okay, take California. A frog that dies during a frog jumping contest cannot be eaten, and it must be destroyed immediately. Now, that's incredibly specific, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It really sounds like a direct response to a very niche cultural event. Maybe it was about preventing foodborne illness, or perhaps just regulating the outcome of a popular pastime, ensuring fair play, even for, well, deceased amphibians.
Yeah, fair play for the frogs. Okay, so from the specific to the truly extreme, we have Idaho. Get this. Cannibalism is usually illegal, but it's allowed under life-threatening conditions as the only apparent means of survival. And it even defines cannibalism as the non-consensual eating of someone else.
Wow. The thought process behind codifying such an extreme edge case like that, right down to the non-consensual part, it suggests a really deep legal dive into survival ethics. It's kind of a testament to how legal systems try, or at least attempt, to cover every conceivable hypothetical, no matter how remote or, frankly, gruesome.
It's truly wild. Okay, from such dire hypothetical extremes, let's maybe transition to something a little less existential, but equally peculiar. In Illinois, there's this rumor about it being illegal to own more than $600 worth of salamanders. The actual law is a bit less wild than that. It's illegal to possess aquatic life captured or killed in violation of the Fish and Aquatic Life Code or whose value exceeds $600. So I guess you could own $600 worth of salamanders, just not one salamander worth $601 if it broke the code.
Right, and this kind of illustrates how seemingly odd laws often have a very practical root, usually protecting local ecosystems or regulating the trade of specific species, maybe to prevent overharvesting or illegal trafficking. The salamander rumor just simplifies what was probably a complex conservation effort.
Makes sense. And then there's Kansas, where it's illegal to shoot a rabbit from a motorboat.
Okay.
Or Missouri, which has a truly bizarre one. If a bull or ram over 1 year old runs rampant for more than 3 days, it can be castrated without liability if 3 residents attest to it, and the owner fails to reclaim it after they've been notified.
That Missouri law sounds almost like a rural legend that got written into law somehow. It really points to a time before, quick animal control services or established legal frameworks for nuisance animals, a time where neighbors might have had to take pretty direct action. So this law essentially provided immunity for that direct action.
Yeah.
It highlights the challenges of livestock management in earlier agricultural communities.
Precisely. Okay, now let's head to Montana. Here, it's illegal to drive animals onto a railroad track with the intent to damage the train. And the fines are hefty, up to $50,000 and 5 years in prison. And in North Carolina, apparently elephants cannot be used to plow cotton fields.
Right. The Montana law is a pretty clear response to train safety and property damage from a, bygone era where livestock might roam near railway lines. Made sense then. And the elephant law in North Carolina, while it sounds amusing now, it likely hints at a time when maybe traveling circuses or exotic animals were more common. Perhaps someone even tried using them for novel labor. The state probably had to specifically legislate against potential dangers or just the sheer unsuitability for agriculture. It's a reminder that laws often pop up from very niche, specific problems of their time.
You really have to wonder what sparked some of these. Like Washington State, at one point they made killing Bigfoot a felony, punishable by 5 years in prison.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, Bigfoot is classified as an endangered species there, so killing or trapping it is still illegal. And in West Virginia, it prohibits hunting, catching, killing, injuring, or even pursuing a wild animal or bird with a ferret. That carries fines up to $100 and 100 days in jail.
The Bigfoot Law is fascinating. It really pulls in local folklore and environmental protection, sort of blending the mythical with the practical. And the Ferret Law, while super specific, highlights a historical issue with particular hunting practices, ones that were likely seen as inhumane or maybe just unfair, so they specifically outlawed them.
You can just picture the ferrets causing chaos. And Wyoming, it's illegal to injure a fish with a firearm. So no target practice on the trout, I suppose.
Yeah, that one's likely about maintaining the integrity of the ecosystem and, ensuring fair fishing practices. You wouldn't want people damaging fish populations or disturbing other anglers while using firearms. It's a very direct form of resource management, really.
Right. Okay, now let's add a few more quick ones from LegalZoom. California also apparently makes it illegal to molest butterflies.
Molest butterflies.
Hmm.
That sounds quite poetic, doesn't it?
Mhm.
This one is almost certainly about protecting endangered species or unique natural habitats. It's broader environmental protection wrapped up in some very evocative, maybe older legal phrasing.
Evocative is one word for it. Okay, Orlando, Florida. You must deposit the same amount of change for an elephant at a parking meter as you would for a car.
Huh, that's fantastic.
Hartford, Connecticut has a law making it illegal to educate dogs. And in Illinois, it's forbidden to give lighted cigars to pets.
Okay, the elephant parking law is a brilliant example of a law trying to adapt to, let's say, unusual circumstances, ensuring equitable use of public resources no matter how large your vehicle might be. The Educate Dogs law in Hartford. That one's more puzzling. But often these kinds of laws were tied to early forms of public nuisance control, maybe targeting street performers, or even an archaic attempt to regulate dogfighting by making any kind of training illegal. Hard to say for sure. And the cigar law for pets, I mean, that's just a clear public safety measure, right?
Yeah.
Likely aimed at preventing animal cruelty or fire hazards, but phrased in a wonderfully specific way.
It really is. In Normal, Oklahoma, and yes, that's the town's name, Normal, it's illegal to tease dogs by making ugly faces at them. Missouri says you cannot drive down the highway with an uncaged bear in your car.
Someone must have tried that.
You'd think. And in Farmington, Connecticut, cows apparently have the same rights on the roads as motorists.
These last few really highlight the incredible specificity you sometimes find. Teasing dogs with ugly faces. That points to public peace and animal welfare, maybe trying to prevent provoking animals or causing a disturbance, the uncaged bear in Missouri. That speaks volumes about public safety and wild animal control concerns back then. And the cows having equal rights on the road in Connecticut. That's a beautiful snapshot of an agrarian society slowly integrating new forms of transport, like cars, trying to maintain order on shared pathways.
Right. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We're diving into laws that reflect past moral standards, often tied to religious observance or societal expectations, sometimes called blue laws. For instance, in Alabama, it's illegal to pretend to be a religious figure like a minister, nun, priest, or rabbi. And also, on Sunday, you can't play dominoes, hunt, shoot, play cards, or race.
Yeah, these clearly show a strong historical emphasis on maintaining specific social and religious codes in public life, especially regarding Sunday observance. The law about pretending to be a religious figure that might have been aimed at preventing fraud or maybe just maintaining the perceived sanctity of religious institutions back then.
Indeed. Then Massachusetts prohibits singing, playing only part of, remixing, or even dancing to the national anthem. It's punishable by a fine up to $100.
Wow.
And swearing at sporting events if you're over 16 is illegal there too, though I can tell you from experience that one's definitely unenforced.
The anthem law is a fascinating look at the historical reverence for national symbols, isn't it?
Huh.
Where any perceived disrespect was actually legislated against. And the swearing law simply highlights a broader attempt to maintain public decorum and, civility, even in environments that naturally get a bit rowdy.
Moving over to Michigan, cheating is illegal with a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison and up to a $5,000 fine. Blasphemy is also illegal, though, again, neither is enforced. And get this, you can't be drunk on a train in Michigan, but apparently a plane is okay, and once you cross into Ohio, you can get drunk on a train there.
It's interesting how morality and public order were legislated in such a, granular way. The cheating and blasphemy laws are definitely relics of a time when moral offenses were often seen as criminal ones, reflecting strong religious and ethical foundations in the legal code. The train drunkenness law points to public safety and nuisance control, specifically on public transport, That might have been a more recent concern when trains became common.
Exactly. Mississippi makes it illegal to display obscene stickers, paintings, decals, or emblems in public or on motor vehicles or clothing. Apparently, that replaced an earlier law against public swearing.
So that's a clear evolution of public decency laws, right? Moving from direct speech control like swearing to visual displays as culture and communication methods changed. It shows a consistent effort over time to regulate what's deemed offensive in public spaces.
Then there's Nebraska, where marrying if you have an STD is technically illegal. It's unenforced because, well, there are no checks. New York still has adultery on the books as illegal, punishable by up to 90 days jail and a $500 fine.
Right.
It's also banned in New York to be masked or disguised in public, and groups dressed the same way are apparently disliked, which does raise questions about Halloween.
The Nebraska and New York laws are pretty stark reminders of how personal morality and public health were once deeply intertwined with legal statutes, though obviously many of these have fallen into disuse as societal norms evolved or practical enforcement just became impossible or undesirable. The mask law in New York, while it sounds funny thinking about Halloween, likely originated from efforts to prevent crime or public disorder associated with anonymity, maybe from earlier anti-masking laws related to gang activity or protests.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. South Carolina prohibits a male over 16 from seducing a woman by falsely promising to marry her. It's a misdemeanor, fine, or imprisonment up to 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And South Dakota requires hotels to have twin beds placed 2 feet apart and explicitly states, "Thou shalt not make love between the beds."
The South Carolina law. It speaks to historical protections for women, particularly regarding romantic deceit and its consequences, which were once seen as a